Welcome everyone. This is the All In FPL show. As ever, we are back, and I'm joined by my two partners in crime. First of all, Alex Doyle. How are you, Doyle?
I'm good. Enjoyed the weekend about football. No Everton misery, so it's been nice.
You turn
How
your
are you?
attention. You turn your attention to the NFL instead of FPL this
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah. I was at the game yesterday. At Tottenham, which was good. Great ground, great stadium. If you've not been there, got to get there. Yeah, a good day out. How about you, JB? How are you?
Yep, not too bad. Quiet weekend, and I didn't have much to do because the missus was out. So it was terrible, really, because there was no football. So
Yeah, that's
it
about
could
that.
it could have been unbelievable, and it was mediocre because of it.
Bad time. And they always do that. They do it on purpose.
I know, yeah. Out of all the weekends you could have chose. So yeah. Anyway, also the main man is here, the money man, the money maker, winning millions already in poker tournaments, which is why we was meant to record about an hour ago, and it got delayed. The money man, Joshua Waldridge. How are you, Josh?
Well, the money is getting lost on NFL. It's getting lost on poker. There won't be much left very, very soon, I would say. So let's just enjoy it while we can. Might be our last season of using that jingle, I think.
So we got delayed for an hour because you was in a poker tournament and you still have no money.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm pretty sure Doyle already knew that would be the case anyway. So I mean, yeah, I'm glad you had some optimism, JB.
Oh dear. So are we down? Are we talking like you're down to your last 100K now or something like that, are you?
Well, half a million or so, I think. He's not that far off, Jesus.
No, I've got more than that, JB. But I mean, it is going down.
Let's not be
It's going
silly.
down
Let's not be hasty, eh? All right. Anyway, so what we got coming up today, then, Doyle?
So we did our sort of game week review podcast, but we thought actually this week it'd be a really good time to really delve deeper into that game week and look at JB's team from last game week in minute detail, go through player by player. What do you think about that, JB? Does that sound
I,
like a good agenda?
I do not think that sounds good. We're a bit pressed for time, so maybe we should wrap it up.
Okay, we'll skip that. We're going to go for a quarter season. It's roughly a quarter season, give or take. Review. Just chat a bit about, what teams we think will look good, who we think will be good from an FPL perspective moving forward, and sort of give a bit of a, top line predictions for the rest of the season as well. We're going to go through the top six, bottom three. We'll look at things like top goal scorer, anyone predicting not Haaland, for instance. We'll take it from there. How does that sound?
Cool.
Really good. And if anyone doesn't know, I weren't on the last show conveniently last week because I did wildcard and my wildcard got about 6 points overall. So it was not a weekend to remember. I'm sure you two went in depth when you reviewed it in the last episode. I have not watched it, even though I edited the video. I just literally skipped all of it. I heard one or two things, and that was about it. So yeah,
That's quite impressive. The editor didn't actually watch the video. Yeah, I like that.
I was literally just clicking to see when you said, right, let's have a look at your team, and then that was it. I split it, and then yeah.
We really don't have any chance with this podcast, do we? Even we don't listen to it or not.
Do you know what? Funnily enough, I didn't even. I got a screenshot of your two teams' points, and I was going to put your points up so the viewers could see like while you're talking about your players, like the team, get the visual there. I didn't even do my team because I was thinking, fuck them. I ain't even going to put my team up. But it was literally from about minute 3 to minute 12 or something. He was talking about my team, and I was like, Jesus Christ. I'm going to have to put my team up because they spent so long on it. It's not going to make sense otherwise if someone's watching it. So, yeah, I had to delve back in and have a look at my measly 28 points or whatever it was. Never mind.
We can't be accused of overinflating our own viewers if we don't watch our own video. To be fair, that's the one thing we can't be accused of, boys. So we're all good. Where are we going to start then?
We start at the top of the table, which is I genuinely don't know. Is it Arsenal or Arsenal top Spurs?
Arsenal and Tottenham have both got 20 points.
This is why the viewers tune in. We don't even know who's top of the table.
It's been a long old week. It's been a long old week. So Spurs and Arsenal. Spurs, obviously, I think, is a big surprise there, given Harry Kane left. But his presence has been filled, and I think everyone here would agree, exceeded by Richarlison, right? It's been him in the team all season long.
Yeah, I mean, I think they already had their Harry Kane replacement. They didn't need to sign anybody. They already had him waiting in the wings. So, yeah. There was always this possibility that like the team would just play better without Harry Kane, just because like he does force the team to play in a certain way, I think. And with like a team where the four attackers are more like equal, I suppose, rather than one main man and people supporting him, sometimes that just does work better. And they've started really well. They've had really good fixtures, so and they've won quite a few games late on, but still they're undefeated after 8 games, so they couldn't have done any better, really, could they?
No, yeah, I think Tottenham are probably the team to target in FPL at the moment. Everyone owns a few already, and certainly a triple up is on the cards for most people as well. I think I've got a wild carded. I put 3 of them in. I've got Son, Maddison, and Pedro Porro in defence. I thought it was a good time to get on him. Bit of a differential where most people have got a Dogie if they do have the Tottenham cover. But I think I see what you say about Kane, the way they play, but I think the main cause is Ange. He's very attacking. He's got like a good team spirit in the camp now, I think. Maddison, I think, really influential in the dressing room as well. He seems like he's good to have around. They've just got that thing at the moment. They can't wait for the next game to come round. You know, they're hanging on in games and they're battling to get the 3 points, and confidence is really high. They're playing attacking, and that's why they're good FPL assets at the moment, I think.
Yeah, and they got about 4 pretty good fixtures now. Fulham at home, Palace away, Chelsea at home, Wolves away. Before it does kind of turn, then they got Villa, City, West Ham, Newcastle after that. So it does get trickier after the next few. But I mean, I think there's not much reason to not be on the triple. And the ideal triple, probably, I guess you'd say Son, Udogie or Porro, and Maddison. Would you both agree?
Well, almost. So Maddison and Son definitely right, but then I do think you would want Richarlison with that as well. I mean, he's an out of position midfield player, so you know he's gone down in price, hasn't he, Doyle? People have been selling him for some reason.
I don't think so. I think he must have come up from 6.5. I'm pretty sure he must have started the season with 6.5. People wouldn't sell him.
Nah, in all seriousness, having a defender is really good. I think especially the 3 of the next 4 fixtures, they're better defensive fixtures than attacking fixtures, I think.
To be honest with you. Fulham at home, Palace away, Chelsea home, Wolves away are all pretty good defensive fixtures, right? Like
that's what I mean. I think you'd want a defender, right? I wish I had one. I wish I had one of them, but yeah, we just have to rely on them having one of the Ange games where they just score 4 goals, for example. Let's hope one of them happens in the next few games. So, yeah, I think the 3 everyone went for, Doyle, was the 3 you said. So on a wild card or something. So yeah, if you got anything different, you definitely got some differentials.
And do you think Son's, so a question a lot of people probably want answered, do you think Son's almost essential at the moment? Or would you rather target getting Salah if you haven't got Salah ahead of Son possibly? Because if you don't have both, a lot of people are trying to jump on the Liverpool assets and Salah in particular at the moment. And if you don't have Son, then that's very, very hard because they're both quite expensive.
Yeah, no, I was about to ask the same question. I'd say yes. I'd probably prioritise getting Son over Salah. It's pretty close, but there's a big price difference there, obviously. Yeah, I think Son's obviously since the position change, he's moving centre forward. He's a very, very good pick. So
yeah, you want both. I think. I mean, Liverpool's fixtures are so much better attacking wise. They've got Everton, Forest, Luton, and Brentford next 4 games. I mean, it's like that's close to as good as it gets, I think, from an attacking perspective. So I do think Liverpool have got the better fixtures, but Son's in a better position and he's 3.5 million cheaper. So I think you just want both basically and get them in as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I've got Son, and on my wild card, I went for Diaz over Salah, just to try and keep pace with Salah. So it's working out really well for me at the moment after Salah's brace last week.
Yeah, that was a misstep. That one, I'd say.
It'll come good. It'll come good. Don't worry.
The good news is Diaz will definitely start this weekend.
Yeah, he's already on the bench. Don't worry. First on the bench after his trip. He's obviously with the internationals. He'll be back late from South America, so it's unlikely he'll start. And it's the early kickoff on Saturday as well. So if you do have,
You'll get him for at least.
if you do have Diaz and Nunes, it could be unlikely that they start.
They won't. I don't think they will start. In all seriousness, Jota's back. Gakpo might be back. So
he's got a track record of not starting them when they do this, which is.
The only thing is, if Gakpo's injured, then one of them has to start. I mean, like
Nunes could start that, but also the other good thing is it is the 12:30 game, so you probably will get some team leaks. So watch out for that if you do own any of them. Anyway, shall we move on to Arsenal? Because if we was going to keep this nice and short, and we've only done one team.
Yeah, just very quickly while we're on it, Son, Salah, Haaland. I guess you're sort of looking at 2 out of 3. Which 2 would you both be looking at the moment?
Well, I went Son and Salah, and I'm going to stick with it because they beat him last week. So nothing's changed my mind on that one.
I'll stick to my guns. I ain't just going to change after 1 week because Salah got another penalty as he always does. I'll say Haaland and Son because I still think that you can get 5 exceptional midfielders and make that saving of 2 million or so from Salah. And I just think there's such a gap between Salah and the next. You've got Son, but then after that, everyone's sort of like 7-8 million. And I think that you could just about keep pace. I know I was joking with Diaz, but I think you could have 5 really good midfielders, Son and Haaland, and then spread that cash and maybe get someone like Trippier in defence if you don't have him.
What about you, Doyle? You've probably got the least biased opinion, having not wildcarded yet, so... We've just obviously both made our decision last week, you know.
Yeah, I agree with JB. I think it's Son and Haaland for me still, despite Salah's brace last week.
Yeah, this was definitely the time to go for him, though, wasn't it? With the fixtures, the time is now. You know what I mean? If you're ever going to do it, right? So
yeah, and to be fair, I kind of changed my opinion a little bit after. So I think we chatted just before the last game week, and I was sort of probably spreading poison into JB's ears by saying that Salah's been quite lucky to sort of get the returns he has this season.
I've been hearing this for about 2 years now.
Yeah, but I didn't really consider all because he'd had like 2 or 3 offside goals as well before that, which obviously aren't factored into like XG numbers and stats, etc. But like they're pretty relevant. So I feel like when you start factoring those in, it's probably a lot closer. But I still think I think Haaland's still just miles clear of anyone else. So good luck there, Josh. And I think Son, just with being cheaper and playing centre forward, I'd probably side with him over Son. And Salah's got the toughest fixture in the league next as well, I won't forget.
God's sake, we're back on this rubbish. I haven't missed that, I have to say.
That's a big win, Josh.
Yeah,
a week to enjoy it as well. It's just amazing when the international break comes after a win. You get a whole week and a bit to enjoy it. It's just amazing.
Was that your first win?
No, second, mate. We're flying. We beat Brentford as well.
Oh yeah, 3-1. That was a good win. That was it.
All teams we beat. Brentford, Bournemouth.
I mean, I'm looking at these next 3 Haaland fixtures, and they don't look as tough as I thought they did. Brighton, Man United, Bournemouth with the first and the last one at home. It's not ideal, is it really?
No fixture's good without Haaland.
A non-believer. Let's hope he's been a bit tired over the international break.
Well, you have done it at the right time, though. If you're going to do it, Haaland does have a harder fixture run now than what he would normally get. And Salah has a great fixture run. So if you are going to do it, you are going to captain Salah. Fair play. You've gone for it.
But then I'm looking at these fixtures. So the Arsenal one was tough, fair enough. And it was a complete blank. They didn't even score. So success. But then I'm looking at these rest of them. And it's like, even though it says the words like Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, I'm just thinking, he might run riot in all of these. It's like, that's the problem. Those teams aren't that good defensively is the problem. So it's like, even though they're big names, they've got loads of money, like these teams aren't very good. So yeah, it's like we'll see how it goes. I've won 1-0 after the first week, but it might be sort of a 1-5 after the next 5 weeks. You know what I mean? We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I do think there's alternative captaincies in the next sort of 5 weeks. Like there might be some weeks where you don't captain him, for example. Like I'm looking at week 10, Man United away, which historically Man United have done quite well in that game in the last 3-4 years, even though they've been worse than Man City. And Arsenal have got Sheffield United at home that week. Liverpool have got Forest at home. So it is a week where I'd take it on with the captaincy, even if I had Haaland, I think. So yeah, definitely taking it on without, and it'll mean his EO's quite a lot less that week, I think. So yeah.
Is there anyone else while we're on Man City? Is there anyone else you'd be considering after from what you've seen? Do you still think it's from the first 8-9 weeks that it's more Pep roulette again, and you can't really trust anyone? Foden's a bit hit and miss here and there. Defenders like Gvardiol plays 2, but then don't play 1. And anyone interest you?
I mean, Alvarez is the other trustworthy one at the moment. There's still not much evidence to say he's going to be dropped at any point. Like he seems pretty central to the way they've been playing all year. He's been almost matching Haaland for all the significant stats. Once you factor in the price difference, by the way. So yeah, I think Alvarez is a good pick still as a second striker. Most people would have gone Watkins though, wouldn't they? I think
he's still quite cheap though, isn't he? He's 6.8 now, maybe, or something like that. And if they gave a Player of the Season award, he'd probably get it, I think, for Man City. So yeah, he's a very good option.
I wouldn't pay up for Diaz or anything. I know Diaz is sort of nailed, but I wouldn't pay that much for Diaz, I don't think.
No, and I think Foden's been very disappointing from a fantasy perspective. I owned him for the vast majority of the season so far, and he did okay, to be fair, from a sort of points perspective, but his underlying numbers are really, really poor, given he started pretty much every game for Man City. He's not really creating anything or even getting any chances. So I wouldn't go there either. Yeah, Alvarez seems a good pick.
On to Arsenal then?
Yeah, let's chat about Arsenal. I guess, well, is Saka, do we have any information on Saka? Is he back next week? I guess so.
I haven't really heard anything, but I think the big question for Arsenal at the moment, which people will be asking, probably is about Saka, because a lot of people sold him. People who wildcarded didn't keep him. So now, is he essential to get back? I mean, he is the top scoring midfielder on the game, I think, ain't he? Maybe Salah went above him last week, maybe.
But Salah, then Son, then Saka.
So yeah, but he is up there. Obviously, he did miss the last game as well. So would you be trying to get him back in with a couple of free transfers, perhaps, or are you happy to go without him?
You have to skip for Chelsea away, I think. I think you've made your bed sort of thing. You have to skip for this one. Sheffield United at home is a difficult one to skip.
Yeah.
So I think you want to be saving a transfer for next week to see if you can make it happen next week, I think.
And I think Arsenal's next 3 home games as well are Sheffield United, Burnley, and then Wolves at home. So that's 3 really good home games.
Doyle, you see my problem on it though, don't you? Like with when I'm thinking about like the captaincy, maybe. Like I might need him in to cover that captaincy next week, you know what I mean, or something like that.
I just don't think he's very good. He's a very good pick.
Sheffield United are not very good though. You've got to admit that.
No, but can I offer you an alternative for that pick?
Yeah.
In Gabriel Jesus, who's probably a much better pick.
Yeah, you love him, don't you?
I love Jesus.
Yeah, he's never really done anything. That's the thing I'd say. But I mean,
but when he starts, he's always good. He just gets injured all the time. Like last year when he started, he was really good for Arsenal, right?
Well, I'd say he was deceptively sort of so. Like he had that one game I remember when everyone captained Haaland against Bournemouth and Jesus went nuts against Leicester, I think it was, or something. But then he did blank quite a lot last year as well when he started.
He got 17 returns in 26 games. It's pretty good.
It's all right, yeah. I mean, Saka definitely got similar to that, if not more, right? So
I doubt it. Yeah, he did. He got
all season, every time Saka scores or assists, which is most games, I always think, yeah, that's all right, but everyone's got him. And then I quickly realise, Doyle don't have him. And then I give a little fist pump. So I get a little fist pump every single week, which is always good.
And now none of us have got him.
I know, I need to get him back.
His numbers just aren't very good, though. Like, except for pens. The problem is he has pens half the time. He's only got half the time. Like, he can't keep getting a pen every single week. It's like in every week this season they've had a pen. at least one, sometimes
Doyle,
two.
he don't even take pens
Yeah,
anymore.
he gives them away and he's still up there as top point scorer.
That's what I mean. They must have had have they had like 6 or 7 penalties this
Yeah,
season?
they've had about 6, I think. Yeah,
Outrageous.
because I think he's taken 2, and I think he's given away 4.
Yeah, he's taken 2.
He'll be giving it to like Ben White next and stuff like that.
Yeah, who's next? Gabriel. Let's hope so. Anyway,
Yeah.
fingers crossed. Yeah, he's good value, by the way. Gabriel, I think that's one to flag for this team. 4.7 is ridiculously cheap for. It was just because he got dropped at the start of the season, obviously, but yeah, 4.7 is too cheap. I think that's a great little filler if you're wild carding or whatever. I think you'd put him in to rotate as a rotation option.
Would you consider like a block on wildcard, like a triple Arsenal defense sort of thing?
I did consider it, yeah. So I was going to go Gabriel and Saliba to start with, definitely. It ended up that I think I needed the money from the Saliba slot because he's 5'2". It was a little bit too much, so I went for Guehi instead. So I went for the Palace block instead, and they did me good. But yeah, I was really considering it. I think it's really good, and I think the fixtures at home in particular are good defensive fixtures. So I did like the block. Yeah, I think it's a good spot.
I went Dan Burn on wildcard, and that was 4.6. And I wish I went Gabriel now at 4.7. I think Arsenal he's got that place nailed down now, and they look quite good defensively. They kept 3 out of the last 4 clean sheets. And one
Newcastle are brilliant defensively as well, though, to be fair, mate. You got to admit that. So yeah, you haven't done bad, I don't think. Yeah.
It's just Dan Burn don't inspire me with that much confidence, that's all.
Yeah, I think he's pretty nailed at the moment, I have to say. But
I think he's now. Gabriel is always seemingly underperforming as well for goals. He's always there or thereabouts in the box, getting on the end of stuff. And I really like that. He's a bit of a threat from corners. So
yeah, I had a big bench score last week because I had Pau Torres, who has no attacking threat. He scored last week. Gabriel got his clean sheet against Man City, obviously. So it was a big.
Oh yeah, Torres, I saw that.
Big load of points on the bench, yeah. But it just means you can sort of rely on them moving forward, I suppose. You know what I mean? Like when they play, they might get those sorts of points as well. So yeah.
Want to touch on Man United quickly as a point of contention?
Yeah, what would you do with these, Doyle? Like, are you still in team hold at the moment, or Sheffield United's the next fixture?
I said he's a season keeper, haven't I? So I feel like I've got to stick to my guns.
What would you do with a Højlund or a Rashford, though? So you'd keep for Sheffield United, but would you be looking to get rid after that, or?
I mean, the fixtures after that are so good right after the City game. It then goes Fulham away, Luton at home, Everton away.
Good.
It's pretty tough to jump off at any point, really. You'd have to jump off after Sheffield, right? Just say, sorry, I'm going to Arsenal. I'm going to take those plays instead. I think they're better.
No, but you'd want him back for Luton. That's the problem. Like, I don't know.
They all look pretty good, I think. But yeah, United just look so bad as a whole. It's weird how the assets can individually look okay, but then as a combined team, they look dreadful.
It's a weird one with Rashford, I think. I wouldn't say he's out of form as such. It's not falling for him. Like he's looking okay. He's involved. He's having a lot of shots. He's almost overconfident, trying to force it a little bit, I think, at the moment. And whereas everything he touched and shot was goals last season, it's just not happening for him at the moment. Maybe he's trying a little bit too hard, but he is still involved all the time. It's going to click at some point, I think. But at the same time, I think he's quite expensive for what he's delivering at the moment. And there's too many other cheaper options for me that I wouldn't be looking at Rashford. And I think even potentially Bruno as well. There's still some other cheaper players. But again, he's involved and he does look good.
This is my problem with Bruno because I want to keep him sort of for all these fixtures. But when I look at my team, so this week he's staying for sure. Sheffield United, I'm not selling him for that game. But the week after, he's got City and Saka's got Sheffield United. And they're the same price. So I should probably just move Bruno to Saka. You know what I mean? It just like that feels like it should be my move, but we'll see.
He's got Fulham and then Luton at home. I mean,
yeah. As I said though earlier, like I might need Saka for the captaincy that week 10, because I don't have Haaland. So it's like I might have to get Saka, I think, and then flip it back maybe even or something. But yeah,
that's not a bad idea because if you don't have the captaincy, that's worthwhile possibly doing it then.
I mean, Salah's got Forest at home, so that seems all right for the captaincy, to be honest. I feel like I'm being a bit dramatic, but
I think you'd probably go Salah anyway, wouldn't you? So yeah.
yeah, I think so. But it depends how Arsenal look again, because Arsenal do have, when they click, they do have that 5-6 goal upside. You've seen them when they're like playing free flowing, like Odegaard's involved, Saka's involved, Doyle's boy Jesus might even get a goal, I reckon. So yeah, let's see how they look this week, and then I'll make my captaincy decision next week, I think. But they're both pretty solid, I think.
I'm not starting him at the start of him this time. I'm not starting this season unless he gets injured. Nah. Me and JB have our bet as well, don't we, JB?
What one was it again?
Bruno v Saka as of last game week.
Oh yeah. That's money in the bank, that one.
Yeah. So I can't lose faith in him in my team. Otherwise, that'll send him on a spiral. You know.
Saka could be injured for another month and he'd still win that bet.
Yeah. Are
you going to captain? Are you going to captain Salah next week, Doyle, when he's got Forest at home and Haaland's got Man United away? What do you think about that one? Week 10, that is. Yeah.
Probably go Haaland. I don't know.
It'd be nice captaining Haaland that week, knowing that I can't remember last time I captained Haaland and actually cared if he scored or not. So that will be really good because a lot of people obviously will jump ship. And
last week was one of those, wasn't
it? Yeah.
If you did it last week, but I mean, it didn't go very well. But...
Yeah. Arsenal are a little bit better than Man United. It feels like those derby games. You're right. United do tend to play up, but it does quite often seem to go one way or the other, and quite dramatically. So it could just be a game where City absolutely spank them. But yeah,
I don't think there's really any other assets to touch on. I mean, a few people got Højlund, but I think if you got Højlund, you hold. I've got him. I think he looks good. He's involved in a lot of stuff. Scored in the Champions League. I quite like him personally, and I think he's cheap.
Yeah, they're performing as a team under like all this like stats as well. If you see what I mean. So I think it's like. I think it'll come good for them. I think they'll turn it around.
I think you want your exposure to be maybe one asset at this point, though, till you see a bit more, and then you can maybe add another one. You know what I mean? But I think right now having one each is probably correct. I think so.
It is quite nice though, because it's a relatively condensed attack. It's quite nice having a couple of them because you know that there's a lot of link up between those three.
Yeah, you got to be very patient man to still have two. I think a lot of us started with two, not quite. You know what I mean? It was the first thing I did on Wildcard, sell Rashford, for example. So I couldn't keep both. You know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I would say I know they've their form hasn't been good and they've been getting pelters and stuff, but they just haven't had a defence. Their whole defence is injured. Even the backups are injured in their defence. Onana hasn't been playing well, but again, he hasn't got no one in front of him. So that's obviously not going to help.
That lad, Jesus.
Yeah.
Last weekend he's so bad.
Yeah, he hasn't looked good at all. And I think because of that as well, that's clearly not helping the team as a whole. So that probably they're not exactly going in smashing teams 3-4-0. So again, that is maybe you could say that's a reason why Rashford and Bruno slightly underperformed when as a team they're not doing as well.
Yeah, I agree. And thinking about it, Josh, if those defenders aren't back in 2 weeks' time, Højlund up against the defensive Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire sounds quite appealing,
actually. Johnny Evans is a good defender, mate. Oh God, I'm just, it's going to make it fun for sure. There's going to be highs and lows, as I said when I was doing it. But yeah, maybe I didn't quite realize how low the lows will be. You know what I mean? Maybe I thought the lows would be a bit happier than they're going to be. You know what I mean? So. We'll see how it goes.
You've had a big high to start, though. You've had the high, so you can't complain too much.
Yeah, and you actually can't. You can't like get out of this now. It requires like 4 transfers or something. Like once you're in, you're just in. I'm in till Luton. Luton's my what's the end? Luton's my like end. You know what I mean? That's like what I can see in the distance. Yeah. And that's when I'll next be involved with the 190% owned EO'd strikers.
It's going to be a great 5 weeks, JB. It's going to be great.
It's 8 weeks, by the way.
It's going to be heaven. How far below is Josh going to be at the end of that 8 weeks, JB? Do you think 100 points, 150?
I mean, it was like you without Saka all this time until you had this unbelievable wild card.
No, because Saka is a shit pick. That's the difference there.
That's why you were so low, because of Saka.
Bullshit. And now I've flown past you both. You see, I got there in the end. All it took was him to break his leg, and now I'm blinded. Now I'm justified.
The thing is, though, like as you know, I've gone without Haaland, so you can see where I've spent the money. I mean, I've got Richarlison, Darwin Núñez, Cameron Archer. I mean, you can see where the money's gone. It's just all gone on Trent Alexander-Arnold, who I wouldn't pick if he was 5 million, probably, but because he's 8 million, I've picked him. You know what I mean? It's like,
Have you got Trent?
Yeah, of course I've got Trent. The fixtures are good.
Have you really?
Yeah.
I talked into it last podcast. Do you don't remember?
I didn't listen.
No, when you were on it, the one before.
No, missed that. I think probably the one you might want anyway is if we quickly touch on Liverpool. I know we're a bit push of time, but Robertson could be out for a while. We're not sure of that injury. So Tsimikas is back. He comes and goes every now and then. Only 4.4. He gets forward quite a lot. I wouldn't rate him from a defensive point of view, but he does get forward quite a bit and he's quite cheap.
Should I use it as my escape route already? Shall I just do Trent Tsimikas quickly? Just like
Josh wants to pay 8 million for his Liverpool blanks every week, not 4.4.
Got good fixtures.
They do have good fixtures, so he could possibly be an option if he is ruled out for a while.
Ooh, I could go for him after this week. I'm looking at what transfers to do, and I've got a Rico Henry size red flag in my team, so that could be the man.
That will be staying there. That red flag will as well until you physically remove it. So let's try and deal with that at some point. But yeah, I think Trent's I know. Yeah. Trent's clearly the way I can get Haaland back in all seriousness. Like, I mean, he's 8 million when he should be like a 4.4 million slot, as we've talked about. So whenever I get sick of him, he can just go to a 4.4 and I can maybe get Haaland back. But he is capable.
What you're telling me right now, Josh, then is basically for a -4, you could do Trent and Darwin to Haaland and a 4.4.
No, I'd be 3 million short.
Oh, okay.
So what I would need to do is a -8 and then get rid of someone else as well. But if I roll this week, the option's there next week kind of thing. You can just do 3 for a -4 and then
you could get rid of Bruno for Cole Palmer or something. And there's your 4 million.
It would. Can you imagine if I just did Trent, Salah, and Darwin, just got rid of my triple Liverpool, and just did like Saka, Haaland, and a 4.5? I mean, seems good. Seems good when you put it like that. I mean,
I had wild cards of that, I reckon. Not the other way around.
Yeah, it's just funny because it's going to come out quite funnily one way or the other, I think. And if I fluke my Trent 20-pointer, then I'll be the smug one, you know what I mean? But yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a tough one.
Just to recap on everyone else, then we covered the top teams. Out of the other teams, who's impressed so far? Just picking out maybe a team and a player, just quick from the first quarter of the season. Anyone in particular? Maybe Newcastle and Trippier.
Yeah, I'll go very boring. Newcastle, and I prefer the cheaper defenders. I prefer the likes of Jordan Burn and Botman. They're ridiculous value. They're just too good value. So yeah.
I'm not taking any of them again all season after that debacle against Sheffield United, where they all got about 22 points. I had none of them. So they're out the window for me. They're dead to me. Not going near them. Losers. Hope they fail. I'll go for West Ham and Bowen. They're my little team. Bowen's look really, really good.
Yeah.
A very nice little differential if you're looking for that. What about you, JD?
Yeah, I like Bowen as well. Put him in on wildcard. I like their fixtures as well, West Ham. They go on very long-term fixtures. So I'm not really looking to try and get rid of Bowen for a while and try and ride him out with all these good fixtures. And he could potentially play up front as well if they ever need to. They've got European games as well, so they might rotate a little bit. We know what Ings and Antonio are like with their hamstrings and legs. So
it's basically a second striker as it is. I think he's better off in that sort of second striker position than actually playing through the middle. I think he's probably more productive there.
And he's always on the counter as well. He's one of the first ones away. So I really like Bowen. He's not too expensive either. He's sort of like that mid-priced range again. Anyone from Brighton? Are you considering now? Stupinan's injured. Kind of rules him out for a while. They got a few toughy
The
fixtures.
fixtures are bad, aren't they? Their fixtures are really bad.
think
I
they're
thought you
bad,
were
but
going to
they
say
turned
Villa.
out good.
Villa, JB.
Yeah, Villa. I love Villa. I've got I wanted the triple up, but I got the double up. So I got Cash and Watkins. I think they're almost essential at the moment because Villa are playing so well and they're scoring shitloads as well. So that's why they're getting so many points. And obviously Diaby's really good, but when I wildcarded, he had a knock. And I think he did play the last game, but he only played 60 minutes. That's probably managing his injury. So from now on, I think Diaby is a really good pick, and they've got awesome fixtures as well. So yeah, I like them three. Or you could potentially, there's another cheap defender like Josh has got, Torres. Good value as well.
There's too many cheap defenders this year. Like you literally have to go for 4.5s, don't you? There's nowhere else to go in defense really. Yeah, I've got to move this Trent to a 4.5. It's just ridiculous to have him. It's crazy. I need a fifth 4.5, I think, and then I think that's the perfect defensive structure for this season. There's just too much value.
Mm. Any other teams impressed or any other players sticking out?
Well, Doyle, we've got to give a shout out to Crystal Palace defensively, haven't we?
We do look to Crystal Palace defence here overall. Overall in FPL, they are our defensive choice.
It's a bit unsexy, isn't it? But I mean, it's sex. It's so unsexy. It's sexy. You know what I mean? It's like that double Palace defense is just going to absolutely rope in the points.
Doyle had about 40 points on his bench from Anderson this season.
But he's gotten me some points as well. He's done me well. It's my fault. I take the blame for that. I've not put faith in him. I should just start him every week. It's on me. But Anderson does things for me downstairs. That's for sure. He gets me very excited. So
rifled it in the top corner at Old Trafford, didn't he? Slight deflection, but
absolutely.
Doyle, you don't need Saka. Anderson's got as many points as Saka this season. Anderson's the top scoring defender by 2 points over Trippier. That is absolutely balmy. He's the 6th highest scoring player on the whole game.
Imagine if I just started him every week. I'd be playing.
Yeah, I think this is why you've came out really high on the if you'd done nothing, what if? Yeah, because I think you played Anderson week 1.
Yeah,
and he's crushed. So yeah, what if? Eh?
What if? Then bad teams to target. I guess we know it's like Luton, right? Luton, Sheffield.
Let's assume those two to start with. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in Burnley.
I think Bournemouth are rubbish. I think they're really rubbish. But I said this at the pre-season. I think they're really bad. Their squad just doesn't inspire me at all. Was it they played Arsenal? Was it the other week? It was the week before last, and Arsenal put 4 past them, and it just looked so easy. I mean, this was when Saka was giving penalties to one of the fans came on and took one at one point. I think it was just panted past Bournemouth. They are not very good at all.
Even Everton better than them, didn't they? So I think they must be pretty bad.
I should have used last week as the example. Oh, Jesus Christ! Everton put 3 past them.
It could have been as well.
It's been coming, hasn't it, Doyle? To be fair, like you've had good XG all season, haven't you? To be honest.
Yeah, bearing fruit now.
2 games in a row, like not 9 in a row, but 2 games in a short space of time where
we lost to Luton in the meantime, mate. We just handed Luton their only ever win in Premier League history.
You've saved them the blushes of losing to Derby. I think they might just scrape past Derby now, thanks to Everton.
Well, they've not beaten us. They've not beaten us back at their lot yet, so they've got another 3 points to come. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't think your boys will be up for that one. Not much else to really target. I always target Forest when they're playing away. So Forest as an away team are absolutely garbage. They're much better at home. But they did play really well against Crystal Palace as a slight aside to that. You know what I mean? They did. That was a really good game of football. That was. But they're without our knee for about 5-6 weeks, and so that will make them much less good going forward. I think so. Maybe that has an impact on not being able to retain the ball and stuff as well. You know what I mean? And the other team having more possession. Any other teams?
I'm looking at it now. It's sort of expected goals against, and the Sheffield at the top, Bournemouth, Luton, and then it's West Ham, which I was pretty surprised. I know they've had some tough fixtures, but I'm still pretty shocked at that. They've conceded 12 goals, expected to concede 18 goals, so they've ran pretty good there.
Yeah, and they've only kept one clean sheet, even with the 12, only the 12, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's been a lot of conceding one a game, to be fair. They've conceded one in like sort of the first 4 games of the season. So
I think that is the fixture run, though, I'd say. I mean, if you're playing Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, Chelsea, Brighton, well, maybe not Chelsea, but Brighton, City, Liverpool, Newcastle, all really attacking teams. They're going to get loads of shots away and score goals.
Chelsea are pretty elite, actually, in terms of like creating chances if they don't score them.
So, yeah, that's true, yeah.
The next 4 home fixtures, because I think a lot of people are going to have Areola, for example. The next 4 West Ham home fixtures are Everton, Forest, Palace, and Wolves. You're going to want to play him in some of those. I think those aren't very good attacking teams. So, yeah, I think that might be a nice little cheap way of playing. I think for the next run of games, that takes you up to week 17. Wolves at home is so almost till Christmas.
I need to run in approximately 5 minutes max. So, do we want to just run through quickly our top 4 and bottom 3?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a prediction. JB, do you want to go for the top 4 first?
At the end of the season?
Yeah. Well, not now. You know what it is now.
Yeah, as in okay. I didn't know if you meant like my favourite teams to target or anything like that. You know, the usual FPL cliches. So the order I think they'll finish in, yeah?
Yeah.
I just think you have to say Man City. I don't want to say Man City, but one way or another, they're just so strong towards the end of the year. I think they could. They will do it. I think. Then I do think Tottenham and Arsenal. I think they'll be the second and third teams. Not sure which order, but I just think that they're desperate for it. You know, you see this. You saw it with Liverpool a few years ago when they won the league for the first time in however long. Since the 80s or whatever it was. Just they won it every single game and they're going into it with so much fight. And I feel like that's how Tottenham have been playing lately. And I think Arsenal had that last year. They come close. I think Champions League could affect them a little bit. So I reckon I'm going to go Tottenham. I'm going to say Tottenham second because they don't have any distractions in Europe. Then Arsenal, and then I will say Liverpool, I guess. Again, I think they'll be pretty strong. I don't think they'll care too much about Europe. I think they'll give it a good go in the league. But I think the consistency of Tottenham and Arsenal will give them second and third.
Josh, top 4.
What shall I go wild on? I'm trying to work out whether I should go wild on 4th place or 1st place. I'm gonna go Man City to win the league. Arsenal to finish second. I think they're a lot better than Tottenham. I think there's still quite a big gap there. Arsenal for Tottenham, I do think will finish third. And 4th, I'm going to go for Aston Villa. I think they are very, 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 very good and very underrated this year. So let's do that. I think I think Chelsea aren't even in the conversation. Genuinely, I think that's miles away.
Man United,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to say Brighton, Newcastle. Like, there's so many better teams at the moment.
Yeah, Brighton. I think Villa are better than Brighton. I was having this discussion last weekend. I think Villa are a better team than Brighton now, just in almost across the whole pitch. Brighton probably win the left wing battle because they've got Mitoma and Fati in that position. But other than that, I think Villa are just better in every other position. And yeah, I think Man United have got problems, and I think Liverpool are good, but I'll take Villa as a bit of fun to finish above Liverpool, I think. Doyle?
I think you're right. There's a big tier gap between Arsenal and Spurs. I think that top tier is very close. I think I'm going to go Arsenal top.
Yeah, I was close to doing the same.
I think they're both miles ahead of anyone else in the league. I think Spurs are going to drop off massively. To be honest with you, I just think they're going to run out of steam. I don't think the squad's particularly deep. There are a couple of injuries away. Like Maddison gets injured, I think they're screwed. I think they'll drop off. I think Liverpool come third. And then, I like the Villa shout. I disagree on Chelsea. I think Chelsea will come good. I think it's going to turn around for them. They'll start dispatching teams, I think, soon. So I think they'll be in the top six. I think Brighton, I agree, aren't as good as people think they are. I think they'll drop out.
My point on Chelsea, though, was just that they're so far back already. It's just like quite a big gap to make. Look, I think they might be top six, but I don't think they'll get top four. It was my point, yeah.
Yeah, 6 points. No, it's not unassailable.
Who are you having for fourth? Go on.
So I went Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Villa.
Yeah, okay. You did go Villa. Yeah, I was just checking with. So we've somehow managed to have 2 of our 3 predictions with Aston Villa in the top 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's hope it comes in. I'm gonna put this fourfold or whatever you call it on as soon as we break off. I'm gonna have my order of the top 4.
Okay, I think I've got to leave, lads. So I'll leave you guys to close out the podcast. My bottom 3 are Luton, Sheffield, and Bournemouth.
See you later, mate.
So,
It's hard to predict other than Luton and Sheffield, isn't it, mate?
I was going to say that's exactly, yeah. I think it's between Luton. I think Burnley will have enough. I think I like Company as a manager. I think he'll get them out of it. And other than that, the other teams, I think there's a lot of strong teams in the league this year. And then there's a massive gap between a few of them at the bottom. I mean, you look at Brentford as well. Brentford and Wolves. Brentford haven't been playing well, but they are a really good team.
Brentford have got someone coming back in January as well, haven't they? It will make a difference. Bloody hell.
100%. And then Wolves, I think, have been playing really well. Forest are a good team, a lot better than what people think. I think sometimes you look at the name and think they're not going to be good, but they've signed so many good players that they should start gelling eventually. Fulham ain't too bad. And then above that, we're looking at the Chelsea, Man United's, Newcastle again. So, I think it will be Luton, Bournemouth and Sheffield United. I'd be quite confident predicting them for it.
I can't look past that. Yeah, I was pretty close in pre-season. I went for Luton, Bournemouth, and Wolves. So I was just one off. I think because Sheffield United are clearly going to go down in the Wolves slot. I think so. I got 2 out of 3, but not going to be a winner. I don't think on the old betting on that one.
I did think Wolves at the beginning of the season as well. They had a lot of trouble. They've got no money and stuff, but they've really impressed me the last 3 or 4 games. And in particular, Pedro Neto is absolutely on fire. I was close to putting him in my wildcard team, and I just slightly preferred Anthony Gordon to him.
It's a funny one. Neto is so good.
He's very good.
I couldn't pick him on wildcard because you've used him as the 8th attacker, Anthony Gordon, which I can see. I could have never put him as one of the first 7 though. There's just too many other ones that are good. You know what I mean? So
it was just that price point. I wanted to use that extra million. Right, I had Charlie Chukwuemeka for Chelsea at 4.3, and then I had someone in defence, and I just thought, you know what, the defenders just ain't doing it. Like, if it was a Chilwell or a Reece James and they was attacking, and it was worth the upside of having someone like that, I would have gone for it. But at the moment, it's all just 4.5 million dross, and you're kind of looking for a clean sheet. The only one I think who's looking good is Trippier, and I've got Trippier. But apart from that, that's why I was happy just to have a boring defence of just Burn and them sort of players. And I've got Cash as well, who I like, but again, he's cheap. So I just thought I'd use that money just, if any striker gets injured or midfielder, or if someone's suspended, or I can just cherry pick the fixture really, and then have one first on the bench.
Yeah, long term, I've got to do what you said. I've got to get rid of Trent, and I've got to put in an extra 4.5. I just want there's loads of them I want as well. So I've currently got Guehi, Torres, Cash, and not Udogie. I've got Gabriel, and that's but there's plenty to add to that. You can add an Udogie, you can add a Newcastle defender. You know what I mean? There's just there's loads waiting in the wings. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm very happy with where our heads are at, I think, with this, not putting money in defence and just having all the good attackers basically. And if you've got the spare money to have an 8th attacker, it's going to help you out this week, for example, when Diaz isn't playing. So because I think Diaz and Darwin aren't going to play, so I'm going to be starting Darwin, I think, because I've got nothing else to play in his place. So I've just got to take him off the bench. You know what I mean? I'll just probably take that over Archer. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's not a bad fixture anyway. I think Everton at home, they'll come on and play at least 30 minutes probably. And you never know, they might start and you might get a team league before, but 30 minutes of that's probably better than Archer anyway, I think.
Yeah, if Gakpo's out, one of them will start. Like, and Jota can play both positions, so we won't even know which one it's going to be without the league. But yeah, I think if there's any semblance that Gakpo's injured still, I think I might just. I mean, I think it's a good thing for maybe both of us to punt starting the guy, because if we don't get a leak, there's probably a 50-50 chance that Diaz or Darwin starts. So we'll see which one does. Yeah.
You wrap it up there? Do you want to send us out?
No worries, mate. Yeah, so all in FPL on YouTube. Please subscribe to us there. We're almost at 200 subscribers, so let's hope we can get that over the line. That'll be a nice little cheer in the chat, won't it, JB? For me, you and Doyle will probably raise a virtual glass or something. And then it's all in FPL on Twitter as well. That's our handle. Please follow us there. And thanks for listening again, guys. It's two episodes in one game week. It's our new record, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Well, have a good game week, everyone, and we'll be back next week.
See you later, guys.
Yeah.